steal homes, okay? And the reason why they were able to do that was because they were getting paid by a higher power, which is the United States government. There was also some other aspects of it, but insurance and the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, they're all tied to this thing. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't Alex Jones, talking about all sorts of fucking horse shit. The thing is, when you are an investigative journalist, and I've always been a producer, but I had to become an investigative journalist to do this, you actually have to go get evidence. You've got to get the stuff from the people. You got to have a grand understanding of the symphony. You got to be able to create a narrative to put it together to make people understand what actually is happening. Because I am absolutely convinced, if you're sitting on a corner and you see an old lady walking and some guy comes up and steals her purse, I think 90% of us would actually try to stop that guy from getting away. I really do. But you can't fight what you can't see. What if for example, somebody came, like let's say there was I'm not exactly what the perfect analogy is in this situation, but let's say this woman is walking. She goes to an ATM to put her ATM card, to this bank and this financial system where she's supposed to get her money. But instead, her money's gone. Poof, it was stolen. Well, you don't know who stole it in that particular scenario. Well, I do. And that's what I'm trying to get to your attention to understand. So, listen, 13 is a huge number for me, okay? 13 was really what propelled me on this grand adventure. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I want to tell you a couple of things of why 13 is important, because most people associate 13 with Friday the 13th and, bad luck and all that sort of thing, which ironically is probably what exactly is I've been living through ever since. And that's the paradox of this whole thing. But 13 literally means the 13 principles of God in Judaism. It also means the balance of nature, and it also means revolution, okay? And so ultimately, there were 13 colonies in the United States. 13 is all over the dollar bill. So 13 colonies, and our founding fathers were part of the Freemasons. The Masons were basically the opposite of what they created guilds that were, the antithesis of the power of the monarchy and the church. That's why we created separation of powers, because our founding fathers were so distrustful of power. Now, they had all sorts of problems. There were white men that had slaves and all of those things that came with it. But of course, when you put it on paper, it leads to the likes of Martin Luther King, 200 and some odd years later, talking about, I just want the country to live true to what it put on paper. Come on, this is in order to form a more perfect union. We had the revolution, we had the Civil War, we had the Civil Rights Movement, we had, obviously D-Day and, the defeat of fascism. Look, America hasn't always been perfect, but America's been probably on the more right side of things than any other country that I'm aware of, more consistently. And it's our turn to be able to step into history and be able to make this work for our generation. I have the answers of the largest criminal